everyone, welcome back. Today we're going to be doing a full face of neglected makeup. It's been a while since I've done my last video like this. A few months ago I started this series really as a way to use my makeup collection. As much as I love trying all the new things and I want that to be a big part of my channel, I also want to use makeup that I have, and this was kind of my way of doing that. Is these videos, I love to do them about once a month. So I went through my makeup collection and picked out a bunch of things that I know I have not used lately. So we're going to use them all today and do a full face together. If you're new here, my name is Blair. I do all kinds of beauty content here on YouTube. I hope you'll subscribe if you haven't already, and let's get started. Okay, let's get into it. So I actually started filming this earlier and I just decided to start over because one of the products that I pulled out to use for this video was kind of throwing everything off, and I just decided to start over. So we're going to go in with some of this ILIA face base milk because I just went and washed my face and I didn't reapply any of my skincare, so I need to kind of prep my skin again. But yeah, one of the products that we're going to use, I'll tell you in a minute what it is. The tone of it is just not 100% right, and I should have tried to correct it before I started using it, and I didn't, and it was just kind of throwing everything off. So I decided to just start over. Now I'm applying a little bit of my eye cream because my face now feels kind of dry, so I need to rehydrate this, or rehydrate my skin again. And I'm using the Ole Henriksen Banana Bright Eye Cream. Alright, while I'm waiting for that to kind of set down, I'm using this. This is a new brand to me. It's EADEM, I think is how you say it. This is a new brand to Sephora. And they sent me this lip mask, lip softening balm a few weeks ago, and this is the clear one, but they also have tinted ones. And it's very nice, very thick, hydrating formula. But I haven't tried the clear one yet, so I'm gonna use it today to prep my lips. All right, finally, I need my SPF again. I'm going to use this one from Summer Fridays. So these are the ShadeDrops in, or this is the Mineral Milk SPF 30. I pretty much rotate my SPFs. This one I've kind of been neglecting though for the past few weeks because I've been using the In Beauty Project Sun Glow, or I always forget the name of that one, but the new one from In Beauty Project. And then I've been using the Skin 1004, of course, which is my favorite. So I wanted to use this one today. Also, please excuse my hair today. It is just not hairing at all. I have got, it needs to be washed, so that's why it's up in a bun. But I have like these little side pieces here, these little like sideburns, I guess is what they are, and they don't want to just like chill. I keep trying to like push them back that way, but then they like poke out, and I try to like brush them up this way, and they just, I don't know what's going on, so please excuse my hair. But let's move into the product I referred to earlier. This foundation from Fenty. Now this is a newer release. Everything else I pulled out is not a new release, but this is newer to me. But I pulled this out for this video because I want to get some more wear on this to really finalize my thoughts on it. I have not wanted to reach for this since I filmed my video on it a few weeks ago, and the reason for that is the shade. And it's not even really the depth of the color. Like with my self tan, this is a fine color like darkness wise, but the undertone just pulls so orange, and this is supposed to be a neutral undertone. So I didn't adjust it at all when I filmed this the first time, but we're gonna adjust it with a little bit of this today, or this time, and see if it helps. This is the LA Girl mixing pigment. It's the blue one, because the tone is just, it just pulls too orange. I don't know. It's definitely not neutral in tone. Definitely not. So I got some of the foundation on my hand, and we're gonna try mixing in a little bit of this and see if that helps. I don't use these blue pigment or this blue pigment that much. Sometimes I feel like it does kind of mess with the formula a little bit, but I'm gonna try it with this and hope that this fixes the issue, because this is a really pretty foundation, really pretty, but this color is just not my favorite. All right, already I think the color is looking better, so maybe this will fix the problem. But I don't know, what is the deal with undertones in foundations, and particularly neutral undertones? I just don't understand why it's so hard to get a true neutral. Brands call these okay, yeah, so this is already way better. It's just not as warm. Earlier, it was just like throwing off the whole look. I mean, it just looks straight up orange. I don't know, but it must be really hard to formulate a neutral undertone, because I don't know, it just seems like we are getting very few that are truly neutral. And I am blending this in with the IT Cosmetics number 7 brush. The tricky thing about mixing foundations like this is you don't really know how much you need to mix, and then you may not have enough, or you may have way too much, but hopefully we can make this work, because it just was not working earlier. Okay, yeah, this is looking way better than it did earlier. So let's move into Corrector. I pulled out this one from Charlotte Tilbury. I don't even remember the name of this. That's how long it's been since I've used this. What is it? Magic Vanish Corrector. That's what it is. This is a great formula. I don't know. I have tried so many good ones in the past, I don't know, year or two, that I don't reach for this one as often, but not because it's not a good formula. It is a really good formula. It's very similar to not Charlotte Tilbury, to Bobbi Brown, the original Bobbi Brown in the compact, but this one is just a little bit more hydrating. And I'm just picking a little bit of this up directly on the brush here and tapping it on. And I use the shade number 2 in this. All right, moving into concealer. I wanted to pull out the Fenty concealer, the We're Even, but that product is not neglected at all. I actually love that concealer. It does pair really well with this foundation, but I pulled out 2 concealers. I pulled out the Givenchy Prisme Libre Skin Caring Concealer and the Gucci concealer. The Gucci one is closer to this foundation shade. The Givenchy is a little bit lighter, closer to my skin tone when I don't have any self-tan on. So I think we're gonna use Gucci to give a little more coverage where I want it, because it's a very, very close color to the foundation. I'm just putting that there. And then we're going to use the Givenchy concealer under the eyes, kind of in the center of my face. This is in the shade C180. And the Gucci concealer is in the shade 25N. Okay, using the same IT Cosmetics brush, I'm going to blend out my face, and then I'll probably switch to a different brush for my under eyes. I actually do really like this Gucci concealer. I mainly neglect this color just because of the shade. I have to be self-tanned really to be able to use 25N but when I am, it's a really pretty concealer. Especially on the face, actually. I actually prefer it all over my face more than I like it under the eyes. I don't know why. So yeah, that concealer is like a perfect match to that foundation. For the under eyes, I'm gonna switch to this brush, the N14 from BK Beauty and Nikki LaRose, and start blending that out. This concealer is a little bit lighter than this foundation, so it should brighten everything up just a little bit. Let's move on to the cheeks. Now, I actually pulled out a powder bronzer, so instead of doing bronzer next, I'm gonna do blush next. And I actually pulled this out. I have not used my e.l.f. putty blushes in a long time. This is the Luminous Putty Blush in the shade Maui, which is a really, really pretty, kind of like a pinky nude color. And I was just kind of in the mood to use this today. So that's the shade Maui, but that is such a pretty color. So we're gonna go in with this first. You know what? I think we'll just use the same IT Cosmetics brush. And I'm just gonna apply this on my cheeks. It's been a long time since I've used this formula. I also have the brighter pink one in the matte formula. This is the luminous formula. I forget what that one's called, Bora Bora maybe. But I really, really like the color Maui. I'm gonna kind of bring it over the bridge of my nose also. Taking a little bit of it on my forehead also, just because I like it. I like everything to look cohesive, so I'm just bringing a little bit of this up here as well. Okay, moving into powder. Most of my loose powders, I feel like I rotate pretty frequently, but we're gonna go back to this one today. This is the Haus Labs translucent powder, and this has been a long time favorite of mine. So I'm gonna lightly set my whole face with this, and I'm using my Smashbox sheer powder brush to apply this. Moving into powder bronzer, I actually pulled out my Gucci bronzer. I never use this bronzer, never. I don't know why. It's not a bad product by any means. I just don't know. It's just not one that I pull out and use. I have the shade number 1, which I actually like. It's a kind of a different undertone than a lot of bronzers. It has like a rosier undertone, which actually I find on my skin tone looks a lot more natural because it looks more like an actual tan shade. And I'm applying this with the Rephr number 5 brush, which I love for powder bronzer. Okay, now I'm gonna take a little bit of this. This is Bare Minerals bronzer in the shade Kiss of Pink. And I'm just gonna apply a little bit of that as well because I thought it would look pretty with that Maui color in the e.l.f. blush. Taking what's left on the brush up on my forehead as well. Then I pulled out this product. This is the Tom Ford Shade and Illuminate Highlighting Duo in the shade Mood Light. Some of my favorite makeup artists swear by this product. I know Andrea Ali loves this product. She loves this shade here actually in particular. And then I think I also saw Katie Jane Hughes use this, and this is a product that is definitely neglected. I totally forget that I have it. So I'm just taking a little bit of both shades with this Rephr brush. I think this might have been limited edition because it doesn't have a number on it. They sent this to me Ooh, yeah, that is really pretty. I've seen Andrea Ali say she puts this like all over her face. Pretty. And put some up here as well. Yeah, this is a product, honestly, I really need to use more because it is beautiful. I mean, I guess it's a highlighter. I don't really know, but it's really, really, really pretty. All right, I just pulled these little pieces down on the side because they are driving me nuts and it's not really working to try to keep them back. So we're just gonna let them be free. But I'm gonna fill in my brows. I pulled this out because I have not used this in a very long time. It's the Dior Brow Styler. Honestly, I think mine is kind of drying out because it just kind of broke off. So this might be kind of hard to do, but this is the universal brown color. Then I am just setting them in place with this brow gel from Jane Iredale. This is just their clear gel. It's the Pure Brow Gel. One other thing I want to do quickly is I'm going to use this Westman Atelier Vital Pressed Skincare Powder in Pink Bubble, I think. Yeah, Pink Bubble. I'm going to use just a little bit of this under my eyes to set that Givenchy concealer. This is another product I definitely neglect. I honestly forget that I have this. It's kind of a tiny little powder compact, and I just find that I don't reach for it, but it's a nice under eye powder. And I'm using a Sigma F64 to apply it. For the eyes, I'm going to start with this Trish McEvoy Eye Base Essentials. It's just kind of a light beigey color, but I don't use this that often. I do have it in my everyday makeup drawer this month, but this is not a product I use a whole lot on my eyes. It's a fine product. It's a little on the dry side, which if you have oily eyelids might be a good thing, but it is kind of one that you have to work with pretty quickly because it starts to set down and it's not a super creamy, like hydrating formula. So I do find that I neglect this a little bit. For an eyeshadow palette, I pulled this one out. This is the MAC Connect in Color Unfiltered Nudes palette. This is a really pretty palette. I have not used it in a long time though. So I'm going to take this kind of nude, like ivory bone color, and I'm going to apply this on the lid just to add a little bit of brightness there. I think I might do a little bit of my bronzer. So this Gucci bronzer in shade number 1. I'm going to use the same brush. This is the Refer number 1 brush. And I'm going to apply that in the crease. I think this will kind of bring everything together. Actually, this Gucci bronzer is a really pretty tone for eyeshadow. I think I want to use this light pink shimmer right here. I'm not really sure if this is, I think this is Internet Star. I think. It's hard for me to read names off the back of the palette, but I'm going to use my finger and just tap this on the lid all the way, really. So from inner corner kind of all the way out. It's a really pretty kind of frosty pink. And then what else can we do? I think I'm gonna switch to a smaller brush. This is a Refer 14. And I'm gonna take Wedge, which is this shade over here. And I'm just gonna add a little bit of Wedge in the outer corner. And then I'm gonna take a little bit of Sonic Chocolate, which is the deepest shade in this palette. It's a dark brown. And I am gonna use this as liner on my lash line here. And I'm just lining the outer half of my eye because I don't like bringing darkness in the inner part of my eye. Now I'm taking a little bit of Makeup by Mario eyeliner in the waterline. This one is in the Perfect Brown. This used to be like my go-to for the waterline until I got the Victoria Beckham liners in Cocoa. And now I use that one much more, but this one is still good. I don't really have a neglected mascara, so I'm just going to use the one I have out, which is e.l.f. Lash Extender in the shade Brown. Finally, I did pull out a few different lip liners because I couldn't decide. So I pulled out Iconic Nude from Charlotte Tilbury. I also pulled out NYX Line Loud in the shade Global Citizen, which this one, if you've been around for a while, you may remember this was like my favorite lip liner for a while. And then I pulled out Rare Beauty in the shade Wise. So we have Iconic Nude, Global Citizen, and Wise from Rare Beauty. Maybe we should do Iconic Nude. I feel like I haven't used this in such a long time. I feel like mine might be starting to dry out a little bit. This is super old, so it's probably time for me to get a new one. Then I pulled out this Victoria Beckham Posh lipstick in the shade Girl. I don't use this one as much, and I'm remembering why now. It pulls a little bit cooler in tone than I like. So maybe I also pulled out my Dior lip oil in Rosewood. Okay, yeah, so maybe I can save it with that. I don't know, the Girl shade just pulls a little bit cooler in tone than I typically like, so I need to get another one of those because I really like that Victoria Beckham formula. Honestly, I feel like I've been filming for like 12 hours. It hasn't been that long, but it's been a long time because I started over the first time, and I'm actually happy with how this came out now. I'm really happy that I went back and adjusted the tone of that foundation because it was just throwing everything off. When all else fails, get one of these from LA Girl in whatever color you need. I tend to have an issue with things pulling orange, so the blue really helps with that, but they also make a yellow one if you want things to be warmer. They make white. I also have the white House Labs pigment, but the depth of the shade on that is not the issue really, it's the undertone. But that made a huge difference mixing in the blue. But I hope you enjoyed this full face of neglected makeup, and I hope it inspires you to pull out something in your collection that maybe you haven't used in a while, similar to a Shop My Stash. But I bet most of you watching probably have a product or two that comes to mind that you know you've been neglecting. So I hope this inspires you to pull those things out again. If you're new, I hope you'll subscribe. All the products I used will be listed in the description box, and they will be linked in YouTube shopping as well. If you do shop through my links, I do make a commission that supports my channel, so thank you so much. I hope you'll follow me over on Instagram as well at simply.blair and TikTok simply.blair1, and I will see you again next time. Remember, simply be you. Bye.